The council chambers in Coruscant vibrated with tension as Anakin Skywalker stood before the assembled masters. His jaw clenched with barely contained frustration. General Grievous had been located on Utapau, and the young knight saw this as his moment to prove he was worthy of the rank that had been denied him. Anakin stepped forward, his voice cutting through the silence with a conviction that surprised even himself. "Masters, I request permission to go to Udapow. Grievous has escaped from us many times. I know his tactics, his weaknesses. I can end this war." Master Windu rose from his seat. "The council has decided that Master Kenobi will go to Utapau. He has the necessary experience for this mission. You, Anakin, are needed here in Coruscant." The finality in Windu's tone left no room for discussion, but Anakin's expression darkened nonetheless. His fists clenched at his sides as he struggled to maintain composure before the masters. Obi-Wan, who had been standing silently in the shadows, stepped forward with a reassuring look toward his former Padawan. "Trust in the Council's wisdom, Anakin. There will be other opportunities to prove yourself," Obi-Wan said softly, though he could sense the storm forming inside his friend. The distance between master and apprentice had never seemed greater than in that moment. After the council dismissed them, Anakin marched furiously through the temple corridors, his robes billowing behind him like dark wings. His mind raced with thoughts of injustice, feeling once again that the council was holding him back out of fear rather than wisdom. The other Jedi he passed gave him wide berth, sensing the darkness of his mood. He found himself walking toward the Chancellor's office almost unconsciously, drawn there by the only person who seemed to believe in his potential without reservation. Palpatine had always understood him in ways the Council never could, always saw greatness where others saw only danger. The setting suns of Coruscant painted the sky in shades of red and gold as Anakin entered the executive building. His footsteps echoed through the marble corridors, each one taking him further from the Jedi path he had sworn to follow. Chancellor Palpatine greeted Anakin with his characteristic warmth, though his eyes maintained a calculating gleam that went unnoticed by the troubled young knight. "Anakin, my boy, I can see that something troubles you. Has the council disappointed you again?" The old man's voice dripped with sympathy and understanding, the perfect tone to exploit Anakin's vulnerability. They sat in the Chancellor's luxurious office, surrounded by priceless artifacts and the trappings of power. Through the window, the lights of Coruscant began to twinkle as darkness fell over the galaxy's capital. Palpatine poured 2 glasses of expensive wine, offering one to Anakin with an avuncular smile. "They sent Obi-Wan to face Grievous instead of you, didn't they? They fear your power, Anakin. They have always feared it." Each word was carefully chosen, poison wrapped in concern, designed to push the young Jedi closer to the edge. Anakin took the glass but didn't drink, staring instead into its dark red depths as if seeking answers there. "They don't trust me. After everything I've done, every battle I've won, they still see me as the little slave boy from Tatooine, not worthy of being a master, not worthy of their most important missions." His voice cracked with emotion, years of frustration pouring out in the safety of the Chancellor's presence. Palpatine nodded wisely, his face a mask of compassionate understanding that hid his true intentions perfectly. "The Jedi Council is blinded by dogma and tradition, my young friend. They cannot see that the galaxy needs bold action, not cautious deliberation. Perhaps their judgment in this matter is not as sound as they believe." The suggestion hung in the air between them, a serpent's whisper promising forbidden fruit. Outside, the first stars began to appear in the darkening sky, witnessing a choice that would reshape destiny itself. Under the cover of darkness, Anakin Skywalker prepared his Jedi starfighter in one of the temple's less frequented hangars, his movements quick and efficient. R2-D2 beeped nervously from his socket, questioning the wisdom of this secret departure, but Anakin silenced him with a sharp command. The little droid had been with him on countless missions, and though R2-D2 expressed concern through worried whistles, he remained loyal to his master. Anakin's mind was made up, damn the consequences. He would prove to the Council that he was worthy of their trust by capturing or killing Grievous alone. The hangar's dim lighting cast long shadows across his face, highlighting the determination etched into every feature. As he climbed into the cockpit, he took one last look at the temple towers rising against the night sky, wondering if he would return in triumph or disgrace. The journey through hyperspace gave Anakin plenty of time to think, doubt creeping in despite his determination. What if Palpatine was wrong about the Council? What if Obi-Wan needed his help and he wasn't there? But then he remembered the disdainful looks, the constant reminders that he wasn't ready, wasn't mature enough, wasn't worthy. His anger reignited with each memory, burning away uncertainty like fuel in an engine. R2-D2 maintained the navigation systems while occasionally beeping questions that Anakin ignored. The stars stretched into infinite lines outside the viewport, a hypnotic display that failed to calm his turbulent thoughts. He meditated on the mission ahead, visualizing his victory over Grievous and the Council's reaction when he returned successful. Perhaps then they would finally see him as more than Qui-Gon Jinn's mistake and Obi-Wan's burden. The Force felt different in hyperspace, muted and distant, leaving him alone with his choices. Anakin emerged from hyperspace above Utapau just as dawn broke over the planet's distinctive sinkhole landscape. Below, he could sense the battle already in progress, Obi-Wan's presence in the Force like a familiar beacon. He dove toward the planet's surface at reckless speed, his starfighter screaming through the atmosphere. Laser fire erupted from separatist positions, but Anakin wove through it with the supernatural reflexes that made him the best pilot in the galaxy. R2-D2 shrieked warnings about structural stress, but Anakin pushed the fighter harder, driven by urgency and pride in equal measures. He could sense Obi-Wan engaged in intense combat somewhere in the city below, lightsaber blazing against Grievous' four-armed assault. The timing was perfect, or perhaps the Force had guided him here for this exact moment. As he approached the landing platform where the duel raged, Anakin knew there was no turning back from this decision. Obi-Wan Kenobi parried another lightning-fast blow from General Grievous, his blue lightsaber moving in perfect defensive forms. The cyborg general laughed mechanically, his four lightsabers creating a deadly web of energy that would overwhelm any lesser Jedi. Obi-Wan had already suffered minor injuries, his robes torn and singed from near misses. The platform shook beneath their feet as clone troopers battled battle droids on the levels below. Suddenly, a second blue lightsaber ignited, and Anakin Skywalker dropped into the fight with his characteristic dramatic style. "Miss me," Anakin called out, immediately engaging two of Grievous' blades with aggressive strikes that forced the general back. Obi-Wan's eyes widened in shock and anger as he recognized his former apprentice. "Anakin, what the hell are you doing here? The Council sent me alone." But there was no time for explanations as Grievous adapted to fighting two Jedi, his mechanical body spinning and striking with renewed fury. Together, Master and former apprentice fought with the perfect synchronization forged through years of partnership. Anakin's aggressive Form V complemented Obi-Wan's defensive mastery, creating an impenetrable offensive that even Grievous couldn't penetrate. The cyborg general quickly realized he was outmatched, his mechanical mind calculating probabilities that suddenly favored retreat. But Anakin was relentless, pressing forward with fury enhanced by his need to prove himself. He severed two of Grievous' arms with a brilliant combination strike, then force-pushed the general against a stone pillar with bone-crushing impact. Obi-Wan moved in for the killing blow, his lightsaber piercing through the remaining armor plates protecting Grievous' organic heart. The general collapsed with a mechanical hiss, his yellow eyes darkening as death finally claimed him. The battle was over, but the real conflict between the two Jedi was just beginning. Obi-Wan deactivated his lightsaber and turned to Anakin with barely controlled anger radiating from every pore. "What were you thinking? You directly disobeyed the Council. This is exactly the kind of recklessness that keeps them from trusting you, Anakin." His voice echoed across the platform, heavy with disappointment that cut deeper than any lightsaber could. Anakin's triumph transformed into defensive anger in an instant, his own blade still humming in his hand. "I came here to help you, and it's a good thing I did, or Grievous might have killed you. Maybe the Council's precious judgment isn't as perfect as you all think." The two Jedi stood face to face, years of brotherhood tested by this moment of disobedience. Around them, clone troopers watched nervously, uncertain whether they should intervene. The tension might have escalated further, but D2 suddenly beeped an urgent warning from Anakin's starfighter, detecting unusual transmissions flooding the Republic's communication networks. Before either Jedi could respond to D2's warning, Commander Cody approached with his helmet removed, an expression of confusion crossing his weathered features. "Generals, we're receiving strange priority transmissions from Coruscant. Something about an emergency session and... Wait, we're receiving another signal now." His voice trailed off as he listened to his helmet's internal communicator, his face going pale. Obi-Wan reached through the Force instinctively, sensing a massive disturbance rippling across the galaxy. On Coruscant, events were unfolding that would change everything, set in motion by an unlikely hero. Bail Organa, the senator from Alderaan, had stumbled upon a conspiracy so vast it threatened the very foundation of the Republic. While Anakin and Obi-Wan were fighting on Utapau, Senator Organa had discovered the unthinkable. A secret order, buried deep in the clone army's programming, designated as Order 66, designed to eliminate all Jedi from the galaxy in a single coordinated strike. Hours earlier on Coruscant, Bail Organa was reviewing military appropriations in his senatorial office when he noticed discrepancies in the clone army's operational directives. His years of political experience had taught him to recognize when something was being hidden, and these files had all the marks of a cover-up. Calling in favors from trusted allies in military intelligence, the senator from Alderaan began digging deeper into the clones' programming protocols. What he found chilled him to the core. Contingency orders embedded in every clone trooper's behavioral modification chip, ready to be activated by a single command. Order 66 stood out among them, its purpose horrifyingly clear. Upon activation, all Jedi were to be declared traitors to the Republic and executed immediately. The implications were staggering, suggesting a conspiracy at the highest levels of government. Without hesitation, Organa gathered his evidence and rushed to the Jedi Temple, knowing that Master Windu needed to see this immediately. Master Mace Windu listened to Senator Organa's briefing with growing horror, his normally stoic expression cracking to reveal genuine alarm. They were in a secure room deep within the temple, surrounded by holographic displays showing the damning evidence. Other council members joined them through the Force, their consciousness merging to verify the information through their collective wisdom. Yoda, still on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees, reached across the stars to confirm what they all feared. The dark side had infiltrated the Republic so completely that betrayal had been programmed into its very defenders. "Test these chips, we must. Verify this terrible truth before acting." Yoda's voice echoed through the Force. Within hours, Jedi healers extracted and examined chips from clone troopers, confirming the nightmare reality. The inhibitor chips contained protocols that would transform the Republic's army into the Jedi Order's executioners with a single transmitted code phrase. Windu moved with characteristic decisiveness, his mind already formulating a plan of action. "Senator Organa, who else knows about this discovery?" The Jedi Master's voice was tight with controlled fury, his hand resting on his lightsaber hilt. Bail shook his head, his distinguished features marked with concern. "Only my most trusted staff, Master Windu. I came directly to you before alerting anyone else. If this order exists, someone with supreme authority must have authorized it." The implications hung heavy in the air between them. Only one person in the Republic had the authority to issue such an order to the entire clone army: Chancellor Palpatine. Windu's jaw clenched as pieces of a horrifying puzzle began to fall into place. Palpatine's unusual interest in Anakin, his emergency powers that never seemed to end, his convenient appearances during every crisis. "The Chancellor," Windu said quietly, the words tasting like poison. "It was him all along." The investigation moved quickly, each new piece of evidence adding to the damning picture. Jedi archivists discovered that records of Supreme Chancellor Palpatine matched ancient Sith files describing Darth Sidious. The connection to Darth Plagueis the Wise emerged from encrypted Sith texts, revealing a lineage of darkness that had infiltrated the Republic at its highest level. Windu assembled a strike team of the Council's finest warriors, knowing that confronting a Sith Lord of such power would require their combined strength. They moved through the temple corridors like shadows of judgment, their lightsabers ready for the battle to come. In the back of Windu's mind, a disturbing thought persisted. Anakin Skywalker was close to Palpatine, closer than any Jedi should be to any politician. Had the young knight been compromised? Was his disobedience on Udapow somehow connected to the Chancellor's manipulations? These questions would have to wait until after Palpatine was neutralized. Chancellor Palpatine sat in his office as twilight fell over Coruscant, a slight smile playing across his aged features. Through the Force, he could sense Master Windu and several Jedi approaching, their intentions clear in the currents of fate. So they had discovered his contingency order earlier than anticipated. No matter, he had prepared for this possibility. His master plan was nearly complete, and even though the Jedi had discovered Order 66, they couldn't stop what was already in motion. His office door burst open violently, and Mace Windu entered with 3 other Jedi Masters at his back, their lightsabers ignited and ready. "Chancellor Palpatine, you are under arrest for treason against the Republic and conspiracy to destroy the Jedi Order," Windu declared, his purple blade humming with barely contained violence. Palpatine rose slowly from his desk, his avuncular posture falling away like a discarded mask to reveal the monster beneath. "So the Jedi have finally discovered my game. How remarkably slow of you, Master Windu." Palpatine's voice transformed, becoming deeper and imbued with malevolence that filled the room like toxic gas. His hands crackled with barely contained Force lightning energy, dark side power making the very air seem to scream. "But you are too late. The age of the Jedi is over, and a new order will rise from your ashes." With those words, Darth Sidious revealed himself completely, his face contorting into a mask of Sith rage. He thrust both hands forward, unleashing torrents of Force lightning that caught 2 Jedi Masters before they could react. Their screams cut short as their bodies collapsed, smoking and lifeless. The battle erupted in an explosion of lightsabers and dark side energy that shattered windows and cracked the reinforced walls. But in his rage and confidence, Palpatine made a critical decision. He transmitted the activation code for Order 66, determined that if he fell, he would take the Jedi Order with him. Clones entered Sidious's office firing at Windu, who was forced to retreat and go to the temple and warn the other Jedi. The signal went out across the galaxy in microseconds, reaching every clone trooper simultaneously through their communications network. On Kashyyyk, Commander Gree turned toward Master Yoda with his blaster raised, as did all the clones on the Wookiees' homeworld. But Yoda's connection to the Force granted him precious seconds of warning, and he deflected the first volley of blaster fire before striking down his would-be executioners with sorrowful efficiency. Across the galaxy, Jedi Masters fell by the hundreds, betrayed by the soldiers they had fought beside for 3 long years. In the skies of Coruscant, Jedi pilots were shot down by their own wingmates. In ground battles across a dozen worlds, Jedi generals were gunned down from behind by troops they considered brothers. But on Utapau, Commander Cody's finger hesitated on the trigger as he aimed at Obi-Wan Kenobi's back. The Jedi Master's head snapped up sharply, sensing mortal danger through the Force. "Anakin, move!" Obi-Wan shouted, igniting his lightsaber and spinning to face the sudden threat. The clones opened fire, but 2 Jedi working together proved far more difficult to kill than the Sith Lord had anticipated. Blaster bolts filled the air of Utapau's landing platform as Anakin and Obi-Wan moved as one, their lightsabers weaving an impenetrable defense. Clone troopers advanced with mechanical precision, their inhibitor chips overriding years of loyalty and friendship. Commander Cody fired repeatedly, his face expressionless as the chip forced him to try to kill the Jedi who had saved his life countless times. Anakin reached out through the Force, wrenching weapons from the clone's hands while Obi-Wan deflected the continuous barrage. "We need to get to the ships now," Obi-Wan commanded, already retreating toward the landing area where their starfighters waited. R2-D2 remotely activated Anakin's fighter, the engines roaring to life as if sensing his master's desperate need. The two Jedi ran across the platform, using force pushes to clear their path as more clones flowed from the city's lower levels. They launched into Utapau's atmosphere with laser fire chasing them, several shots hitting their fighters' shields. Anakin's piloting skills kept them alive, weaving through the narrow passages of the sinkhole city while clone fighters scrambled to pursue them. Once in space, they jumped to hyperspace, the sudden silence after battle ringing in their ears. In his cockpit, Anakin's hands trembled on the controls as the reality of what had just happened crashed over him. The clones had tried to kill them, soldiers they had fought alongside for years. Through the communication system, Obi-Wan's voice came, tight with emotion and urgency. "Anakin, something terrible has happened. We need to make contact with the temple immediately." When they emerged from hyperspace in a secure sector, R2-D2 connected to the Republic's emergency channels, and what they heard made both Jedi's blood freeze. Master Windu's voice crackled through the static, broadcasting on all Jedi frequencies. "All Jedi, this is Master Windu. Order 66 has been activated by Chancellor Palpatine, who is the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. All clones are compromised and hostile. Return to Coruscant if possible, but do not trust any clone forces." The message repeated, each word hammering another nail in the coffin of everything they had believed about the Republic. Anakin felt as if the ground had fallen out from under him, his world spinning as the implications sank in. Palpatine, his friend and mentor, was the Sith Lord they had been hunting all along. Every conversation, every piece of advice, every moment of understanding had been manipulation by the galaxy's greatest evil. "No," Anakin whispered, then louder, "No, it can't be true." But even as he denied it, he knew it was true, felt it in the Force with crystal clarity. Obi-Wan's face appeared on Anakin's display screen, and for the first time, the Master looked genuinely shaken. "Anakin, I know what Palpatine meant to you, but you heard Master Windu. He has been deceiving all of us, especially you." The words were gentle but firm, acknowledging the pain this revelation caused. Anakin wanted to rage, to deny, to make it untrue through sheer force of will. But instead, a different emotion overtook him. Fury at having been used, at having been manipulated into nearly betraying everything he held dear. How close had he come to falling completely under Palpatine's influence? If he hadn't disobeyed the Council and gone to Udapow, would he have been on Coruscant when Order 66 was given? The thought chilled him to the core. "We have to go back," Anakin said, his voice hardening with determination. "The younglings, the temple, we have to protect them." The flight back to Coruscant took minutes that felt like years, both Jedi steeling themselves for whatever horror awaited them. They emerged from hyperspace to find the planet's orbit filled with debris from space battles, Republic cruisers firing on each other as Jedi and Loyalist forces fought clone battalions. The temple was visible from space, smoke rising from several of its towers where clone gunships had attacked. Anakin and Obi-Wan dove toward the temple through a hail of anti-aircraft fire, their fighters taking heavy damage before crash landing in the temple's ruined hangars. They emerged to find devastation beyond imagination. The bodies of Jedi and Padawans scattered throughout the corridors, cut down by the clones they had trusted. Anakin fell to his knees beside a dead young initiate, his heart shattering into pieces. How many had died because he wasn't here to defend them? "Come on," Obi-Wan said softly, pulling Anakin up. "We can mourn later. Now we fight." They ran through the temple toward the council chambers, striking down clone troopers who opened fire on sight. The sounds of lightsaber combat echoed from the main hall, and they burst in to find Master Windu dueling Darth Sidious, who led the clones in the attack on the temple. The Dark Lord's force lightning arced through the chamber, but Windu's Vapad style transformed the dark side energy back onto its user. Palpatine's face was twisted with hatred and exertion, his power immense but finally matched by a master of equal skill. "You will die, Windu," Sidious screamed, unleashing another torrent of lightning. But Mace Windu had prepared his entire life for this moment, channeling the very energy of the dark side through his unique style, turning Palpatine's power into the weapon that would destroy him. The purple blade moved with surgical precision, severing both of Sidious's hands before piercing his black heart. Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith and the architect of the Jedi Order's near destruction, fell dead at last. But the victory was bittersweet, for Windu collapsed from exhaustion, his body ravaged by the Force lightning he had absorbed. Yoda arrived moments later, having fought his way across the galaxy after escaping from Kashyyyk, his ancient eyes surveying the carnage with deep sadness. Much work to rebuild we have, but survived the Jedi Order has. A new beginning this is. Together, the surviving Jedi Masters coordinated with loyal Republic forces to deactivate the clone army's inhibitor chips, freeing the soldiers from their programming. Commander Cody wept when he realized what he had tried to do, begging Obi-Wan's forgiveness for his attempted betrayal. The galaxy would need years to heal from the scars of war and betrayal, but the immediate threat had passed. Anakin stood among the temple's ruins, feeling empty and somehow lighter. Palpatine's death had severed the dark influence that had been slowly corrupting him, leaving him shaken but finally free to choose his own path. In the months that followed, the Jedi Order began its slow reconstruction, building on foundations of humility learned through near extinction. Anakin threw himself into the work of healing, his guilt over his disobedience and secret connection to Palpatine driving him to prove himself worthy of redemption. Master Windu survived his injuries, though he carried the scars forever, and in a surprising gesture, he supported Anakin's eventual elevation to Jedi Master. "You disobeyed orders and may have saved the Order by doing so," Windu told him. "Perhaps the Council needed to learn that rigid adherence to rules can blind us to wisdom." On Naboo, Padme gave birth to twins, Luke and Leia, children born not in tragedy but in hope. Anakin was there for their birth, tears streaming down his face as he held his son and daughter for the first time, knowing that the dark future Palpatine had shown him would never come to pass. As Luke grew, he showed strong Force sensitivity, and when he was old enough, Anakin took him as his Padawan, passing forward the lessons he had learned through pain and redemption. The Skywalker legacy would not be one of darkness and fall, but of light persevering through the most difficult trials. The Force finally had found its balance,